Maseches Brachos Daf Nun Tes. The Gemara brings the halacha that roye cham b'tukvasa. You have to make a oisem asebrachos. There's an interesting shaila brought down the Sefer Ora Avram that the Stipler declared in Tov Mem Aleph when he went to say Birchas hachamah that he saw for the first time Elon of that year. So he was mesupik. What do you make first? A Birchas Ilonis or a Birchas hachamah? On one hand, Birchas Ilonis comes every year, so it's Tadir. On the other hand, Birchas hachamah is oisem asebrachos. Oisem asebrachos you make on other events also. So maybe that's Tadir. Chaim Kanevsky brought a raya from a Rashi in Sukkah Daf Nun Vav. Over there the Gemara discusses what you make first, shehechiyanu or Birchas Leisha Basukkah. That in the Maras Tzad, shehechiyanu is Tadir, and shehechiyanu is Tadir because it comes on other Yomim Tovim as well. So you see that even though the mile of Tadir of shehechiyanu is not because specifically this Yontif, it comes from other items as well. Malamaisa, the brach of shehechiyanu is the brach of Tadir. So over here also, the oisem asebrachos, even though it only comes 1 in 28 years for the hachamah, but since you say it more than once a year for other things as well, so therefore makes it a Tadir. Maybe over there it's different. The shehechiyanu for the zmanim, Rashi says over there a golem, that's considered maybe one item. Mashenkin over here, hachamah has nothing to do with the other brachos that you make oisem asebrachos on. Ayin or Avram is mfalpul was there. Mara says further on, the halacha, afi pish amu shinu yayin ain't tzarich levorich. You make a hatov ametiv on shinu yayin. There's a big discussion in the Rishonim. Why specifically on yayin do you make a hatov ametiv? Tozer says because yayin is soid v'sameach. The Rosh says because Shira on the yayin and they were masakin the bracha b'fnei atzmoi, and they were masakin it because of hurugei beitar, and that the dam is like yayin. Rikveger in Shulchan Aruch brings the Kad HaKemach that says the whole different pshat in hatov ametiv. The reason is because since its derech is to have a simcha when you drink wine, so therefore we want to make sure you don't get too carried away with your simcha. So therefore they masakin and make hatov ametiv to remember the tzoros of harugei beitar, to make sure you don't get too happy. The Meshech Chochmos has an interesting pshat in the bracha hatov ametiv, why it's specifically yayin. He says the reason why they masakin hatov ametiv at the end of Birchas Hamazon, the whole benching has to do with the different periods in the history of Klal Yisrael, and hatov ametiv is a shvach on the golus. That's what the harugei beitar is referring to, that even though they're golus, they're able to get in the kvura. And he says, therefore, it's specifically on wine, we make a hatov ametiv, because although we're in golus so many years, and we have special halachas on yayin, that if a guy touches yayin, we can't eat it, like Haman said, and afal piken, even though we have such halachas that keep us different from goyim, aval piken, we have a kiyum in the golus, and that's why we have a bracha hatov ametiv. And that's a malach of hatov ametiv. Kipshuta, it's the same halacha of hatov ametiv on yayin. It's kipshuta, the same halacha of hatov ametiv. You make on other things if you have a yerusha or bayis chodesh, etc. Lamaisa, in the sefer Imrei hatov ametiv, it has an interesting diak from the Rambam that would sound like the hatov ametiv on yayin is not a shvach like other hatov ametiv says Birchas Hanenin. The Rambam, although he writes the Birchas hatov ametiv in Perek Yud, Milchis, Brachos, all that hatov ametiv, if you have a Yerusha, etc. However, by Birchas HaYayin, he brings the Perek Daled with the other Birchas Hanenin. It sounds like it's a Birchas Hanenin. And the other Raya, the Beis Yosef, says, Matzotzi Kosev, from Kloinimus, that you can make a hatov ametiv even after you drink wine. You can make a hatov ametiv. If Kloinus explains, because it's a Birchas HaShvach, and the Birchas HaShvach, you could be even after you drink the wine. That the Beis Yosef says that the same way Begla Birchas Hanenin is a shvach for the item you're eating, and after picking after to make the bracha before, so who adin not hatov ametiv. On that, the Drisha says the answer to the Beis Yosef's kasha on if kloinimus, that it's different. The Birchas Hanenin is for the Hana, so that's why you have to make it before. And Birchas HaMitzvahs also, you have to make a bracha before, because the lashon of the bracha, Shekel Shalom Soisav, is before. And that's why you have to make a bracha over l'siyasin. Mashenke Birchas HaShvach, could be afterwards. So you see clearly that the Drisha is learning in the Koinimus that's a Birchas HaShvach, but it could be that Beis Yosef understands it's a Birchas HaNenin. That's why it has to be specifically before. B'yesh Loden, it could be Beis Yosef agrees. B'yesh Lefal Pulbazeh. But according to this Yisoid, you could explain the Yesh Mefarshim and the Rosh. Yesh Mefarshim and the Rosh says the Birchas Hatov v'Hatov on Yayin has to be that everyone has to make it together. They have to listen to one another. And the Rosh asks that it's shver from Yod Ish Tizochi make Hatov v'Hatov even if your wife's not there. But according to this Yisoid, that Birchas HaYayin is a Birchas HaNenin, so it's cholok bi Yisoidoi from the other Birchas HaNenin, which is Birchas HaShvach. Over here, the it's a Birchas HaNenin, so it's Yitachin that the Pshat is, according to these Shittas Rishonim, they're misakin a Birchas HaNenin that the whole Chaburu has to make together. And you can explain because the Ritva says in Nachman Beis that it's Seibu Yachad, it's considered Guf Echad, the Nenin Ke'echad, so maybe that's one bracha. So that's only the Birchas HaNenin on a Yayin, has nothing to do with the halacha of the other Birchas Hatov v'Hatov, which are Birchas HaShvach. The Gemara further brings the halacha of making shehechiyanu when you can't chedim chadoshim. There's an interesting shita of Shira going in Tosis in Sukkah Daf Memvav that says that we don't paskin like this halacha that you make a bracha and chedim chadoshim because we paskin that you only make a bracha when it's a simcha that's bo mizman lizman. So he's learning it's the same halacha that we chedim chadoshim as you make a bracha on Yom Tovim, and we don't paskin like this halacha because only something what's bo lizman lizman. There's a tremendous chiddush from the Netziv in Hamek Shaila at the end of his sefer in Kuf Ayin Aleph. He says he wants to make a shehechiyanu on writing a sefer. It discusses at length the halachas of shehechiyanu. So he says the chiddush. There's two halachas. There's a halacha of shehechiyanu over here, kodim kedim chadoshim. There's another halacha of shehechiyanu when you eat peiros or yomim tovim. And the Gemara says in Eruvin Daf Mem when you eat a pri chadash. Over there, the Birchas shehechiyanu is not a choiva, it's a rishus. So the Netziv says, why did the Gemara say that only a pri chodesh is a rishus? Why didn't the Gemara say kodim chedim chadoshim is a rishus? And also, the whole Gemara sugya over here in Perek HaRoya sounds like the same with all the brachas in this Perek is a choiv. So the bracha of shehechiyanu, kodim chedim chadoshim, is also mashma a choiv. So he says that it's two different sugyas. There's a sugya over here of kodim kelim chadoshim. Over here it's a choivas bracha. It's a chiyuv because of the simcha. However, the Paris, the halacha over there is that it's not on the simcha of eating the pri. It says mahana iko when you see a pri biyad chaveroi. Over there, the shehechiyanu is that you came to nuzman. Nothing to do with the simcha, it's because you came to a new zman, and that's what the Gemara in Eruvin was discussing to compare it to Rosh Hashanah and Kippur, and only by Yomim Tovim, Regolim, that say Beferish, over there you make a shehechiyanu on the Schadshus Azman. It's two different halachas, it's Schadshus Azman and Simcha. And he says in Nafkamina that the Shtetson Shulchan Aruch, that you're not supposed to make a shehechiyanu ben Tzorim, and it says the Sefer Chasidim, which is the makor of that halacha, only says it by Paris. He doesn't say it by kodim kelim chadoshim. So the Tziv says that it's a difference. Lefi anal, only by a pri that the shehechiyanu is because it came mizman lizman. So it's not roy on the zman of bein tzorim, which is a yom tzora, to make a shehechiyanu on the zman. However, shehechiyanu on kelim chadoshim over there it's because of the simcha itself. Since it's because of the simcha itself, so therefore even beinam tsarim you can make a shehechiyanu. Maisi brings the Rambam's on mashma like that. The Rashi ben Shuvas his mashma compares the two valimut schus on those that don't make a bracha on kelim chadoshim, don't make a bracha on later zachar. V'ayin shama riches gedoyla b'divrei Netziv.